Alright, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we're going to be talking about the LA Clippers. They're currently very good. 17-13, they're top 6 in the Western Conference. Been one of the surprise teams of the NBA this season. And I don't talk about the Clippers, man. How they're this good, why they've been so great, defying odds here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Link to my Twitters, all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about the Clippers today. The Clippers, they're currently 17-13, sitting at 6th in the Western Conference. Very surprisingly, coming into the season, losing out on Paul George, still having no kind of real wonder or no real timetable as to what wrong with Kawhi, when he's coming back, if he's going to play at all, what happened. And coming into this year, expectations were kind of low for the Clippers. No one really expected the Clippers to do much. If you go back to my prediction videos, I had the Clippers missing out on the play-in. I had them below the play-in, I think about 12 seed, 13 seed. I just didn't believe in the Clippers. I just did not believe that a team led by James Harden in 2024, 2025 will be good enough to compete in this very tough Western Conference. And I was wrong. I was very, very wrong because this team has been way better than expected. 4 games above 500, top 6 in a tough Western Conference when their star player has not even touched the court this season. It's been very, very impressive for this team. Last time they got a really good win against a good Memphis Grizzlies team, 114-110. They beat some good teams. They beat the Mavericks. They won a 5-game win streak in the middle of November when they beat some good teams. And yeah, they've been playing some very good basketball, very competitive, very fun basketball this season. And you got to give a lot of credit out to a lot of different places. First off, we're going to look at the stats of this team, what they do good at. So right now, they only are the number 20 offense in the league. So they're not like this high powered, we're just going to score 125 points per game type of offense. So only number 20 offense. You're looking at all their offensive numbers, it's kind of about average to below average a little bit. So it's not like they're an elite level offense, but where they do make up for that is their elite level defense. Number 5 defense in the NBA. Looking at all their defensive numbers, it's the opposite. They're all about near the top of the league to above average in the league in basically every defensive stat. So defensively, they've been locked in. That's thanks to Jeff Van Gundy, who's now the defensive, I guess, call him the defensive coordinator of this team. And they've talked a lot about how he has really impacted the defensive end on this team, and they overall have the number 10 net rating. So they've just been locking down defenses, and then they have players that are just good enough on the offensive end that they can win games like that. Looking at some of their stats, 13th in field goal percentage and 9th in three-point percentage, or at least they're efficient there. 3rd in points off turnovers. Like, offensively, not really much to rave about, but the defense is where they lock in. Defensive numbers, they're 6th in opponent second chance points, 7th in opponent points in the paint. So Zubac has been really great in the paint. We're going to talk a lot more about him later. They're 4th in opponent field goals made, 4th in opponent field goal attempts. So top 5 in terms of giving up shots, 6th in opponent three-pointers made, 4th in opponent three-point percentage. So they're not giving up a whole lot of threes either. 3rd in opponent offensive rebounds, 8th in opponent defensive rebounds, 4th in opponent rebounds per game. So they're not giving up rebounds on the offense or defensive end, which also leads to the 6th in opponent second chance points. So they're not giving up three-pointers, they're not giving up a lot of shots, and they're closing out possessions as well. They're 6th in opponent assists per game, 5th in opponent points per game. So defensively, they are locked in. Defensively, they have been elite on a great level this season, and that's how they've been winning a lot of games. Just locking in on the defensive end, get stops when they need to, and then offensively, we can work it out because we have James Harden, and Norman Powell, I guess. But going into the individual players, James Harden has just had an incredible season this year. I mean, despite him being, 34, 35 years old, like, he has still been very good, giving you 22, 6.5 rebounds, 8 assists, and 1.5 steals. The shooting numbers have not been great. He's shooting under 39% from the field, 34% from 3. The efficiency has not been there. And he does have a lot of turnovers. But James Harden has still been managing this team very, very well in terms of knowing when to take over, putting everyone in a position, which is what James Harden has done. I mean, look at his years in Houston, Brooklyn, Philly, like all the time. He's just been a great player in terms of getting everyone else involved and making everyone else great. I mean, the Houston Rockets literally ran their whole offense around him dribbling the ball 150 times a game and just getting everyone else the ball, and that's worked in the regular season. They won 60-plus games. Like, James Harden, we know he could be a one-man show, and he's showing it this year how he could be a one-man wrecking crew in his own right in terms of I'm gonna score, I'm gonna have some big nights, but also everyone else is gonna eat. You know, Norman Powell, you can get your catch and shoot shots. Zubac, you're gonna get your post ups and dunks inside. Guys like Amir Coffey, Derrik Jones, you guys are gonna get your catch and shoot shots. And it's all been James Harden just managing, being a great point guard in the league. And then his scoring has been great. He's had a couple 40-point games, 30-point games, some big nights, hitting big shots. Even though he might not shoot the ball great the entirety of the game, he's gonna give you the big ones that matter, and he's just been amazing. He should be in the All Star game this year. I don't know if he's gonna make it because the Western Conference guards are so stacked, but James Harden definitely deserves to be in the conversation because he has this Clippers team balling. I mean, no one expected who expected the Clippers to be multiple games over 500 at this point in the season without Kawhi Leonard not even playing a single minute. Like, who expected that? James Harden has been the leader of this team. We got to give him his flowers. You know, he's been so awesome to watch this season, and I love it. Love to see James Harden kind of evolve into this type of player. Even though he doesn't have the same amount of scoring, he's not going to average 35, 36 points per game like he did in Houston. You know, he still is going to do James Harden things. And then Norman Powell. Norman Powell has been so effective this year. I mean, he's leading the team. He's averaging 24 points per game on insane efficiency, 49% from the field, 47% from three, 83% from the free throw line. He's had some huge games as well. He's been kind of like the score. He's been the leading scorer of this team, really. Like just the catch and shoot shots, the running 3-pointers, getting to the basket. Like we know Norman Powell could be a bucket getter, but he's hit another level at 31 years old. At 31 years old, he's hit another level, you know, and is in the MIP conversation because he has been so good to this team and just giving them some offensive firepower when they don't really have a whole lot of it. Again, they're not a high-powered offense. You know, they don't have some insane offensive players, but Norman Powell has really has given them some wins just because he's decided, you know, I'm going to take over in some of these games and hit some big shots. So yeah, that guard combo, James Harden and Norman Powell, just works so well together this year. And then you have the other players, even to Zubac. Zubac has been really good this season. He's been one of only 3 players to play in every game this year. He's giving you 15 points and 12 rebounds with a block on 60% shooting. He's having a career year. I think last night against the Grizzlies, he had a 20-20 game. He's had some big nights. Him and James Harden have really found a connection over there. He's been working in the paint very well, rebounding the ball, being a paint protector, helping out with that defense. I think he's probably hit another level this year as well, which is very unexpected. Zubac's always been a very solid big man, a very solid starting big, but this year he's just hit another level in terms of being an effective scorer, an amazing rebounder, and blocking shots very well, doing it in an efficient way, and helping this team win some games. So yeah, those three I feel like have been just the core piece of this team. And then you look at the roster, and you're like, dang, you have good all around players. Anyway, Amir Coffey. I really liked Amir Coffey the last couple years as a role player. This year he's been really good, 10 points per game, 42% 3-point shooter. Just a guy that you could kind of plug and play. You know, if he has to start some nights, he can. He has to come off the bench sometimes, sure. He needs to be a 3-point shooter, he can. He can do that. 42% from three. Need to put the ball on the floor a little bit and get to the bucket, he can. He just makes really smart plays, and I really like Amir Coffey, you know, as a role player, as a wing role player. I've been a fan of him for a little while, for the last couple years. You know, he's been giving some quality minutes, and he's doing it again this year. Derrik Jones Jr., who they signed on a bargain in the offseason, I was really wondering how, after having a career year last year in Dallas, how is that going to translate over to LA? And he's doing it again, kind of. 10 points per game, 40% shooting from three. You know how good he is going to be on the defensive end. He's been very good as well. The wing players have been good. Even Nick Batum, at 36 years old, he's still doing his thing. I mean, he's shooting 38% from three. You know, he's playing games. He's not playing a whole lot of minutes anymore because he's older, but he still gives some quality minutes. You have Chris Dunn. I really like Chris Dunn. I love that he's found his mold and found a way back to the league after having a disappointing first couple of seasons. I mean, he's only averaging 6 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, almost 2 steals. You know, he's a 33% 3-point shooter. Defensively, he you don't get too much better at the guard position than Chris Dunn defensively. He just is he brings so much energy, so much effort on the defensive end. You know, he just gets his hands on everything. It feels like he's going to get a deflection or a steal on everything. Competes so hard on the defensive end. Sometimes he has to guard bigger wings and he holds his own. Chris Dunn has been so infectious on the defensive end as well, getting him there. You know, and then offensively, he's going to be a very solid player. You know, he's going to hit some big shots. He's going to do some connecting pieces type of things. So Chris Dunn has been a huge factor in this team. Terrence Mann is still very solid. I like him a lot more off the bench. You know, as a starter, he was having some not great performances, but I think him on the bench, coming off the bench, just is so much better for this team. And then, yeah, then you have other guys like Jordan Miller is starting to play some actual minutes, and he's been decent when he plays. You know, Mo Bamba is finally back, and he's been okay. You know, Kai Jones, when he does get minutes, is decent. Like, I feel like everybody on this team is kind of bonding. You have Kevin Porter Jr., who's giving you 10 points per game. You know, he hasn't been shooting the ball super efficiently. He does have some moments where you're like, dang, Kevin, like, like pass the ball a little bit sometimes. But when he does have his moments, it's solid. You know, just gives you some more scoring punch on a team that doesn't really have a lot of scoring punch, especially when James Harden goes to the bench. He kind of is like the main ball handler of this team. So the Clippers just, I feel like they have everybody bought in. Looking at the roster, they have a lot of guys outperforming. Like almost basically everybody on the team is outperforming what we thought. James Harden is still really good at 34 years old or 35 years old. Norman Powell is having an MIP season at 31. Victor Zubac is having a career season. You know, Amir Coffey and Derrik Jones Jr. are doing Amir Coffey and Derrik Jones Jr. things and have been very impactful. Chris Dunn is being so impactful to this team. I feel like so many players are outperforming expectations with this team, and that's how they really got it. You also got to give a lot of credit to Tyron Lue. Tyron Lue every every year it feels like with the Clippers, he overachieves in some way. Tyron Lue has never had. I mean, obviously he's been around in the Kawhi Paul George era. He's never had them fully healthy. He's never had Kawhi, the PG, fully healthy, especially for a playoff series. Like he's always got something going on with the Clippers. Always someone hurt. Always some expectations. Always, yeah. He always finds a way to exceed expectations in a sense of we don't have Kawhi Leonard, we don't have Paul George, but we're still going to come out and we're going to compete every night. We're going to win games. They made some playoff appearances without Kawhi Leonard even being around, without Paul George being around. Won some playoff games that they shouldn't have won. Made a conference finals appearance without Kawhi Leonard, going all the way to the conference finals. Tyronn Lue has been one of those coaches where no matter what you give him, I feel like he has kind of made right of it. You know, like every time you give him something in a certain situation, he's gonna make things happen, and he's gonna have people outperform, and he's gonna put together a very competent team. Even if they don't win all the games, he's gonna put together a very competent team. And he's been one of the better coaches in the league the past, I want to say what? How long has he been the Clipper coach? 3, 4, 5 years, however long. Tyronn Lue deserves a lot of credit as one of the better coaches in the NBA. He's always done this. He's always, since he's become a Clipper coach. Well, I'm a Cavs fan. When he was in Cleveland, I wasn't a big fan of Tyronn Lue. Honestly, I wasn't a big Tyronn Lue guy. You know, when he was at Cleveland. But since going to the Clippers, I love Tyronn Lue now because he's just shown me that every time he gets put in a tough situation where someone's hurt, that he does have his full team healthy. Even this year, he does have Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard has not stepped on the court yet. Yeah, he still has this team in the Western Conference as a top six above the play-in, multiple games over 500. Like every time he doesn't have all his pieces together, he still finds a way to make it work and make it respectable and put together a very competent team. So you got to give a whole lot of credit to Tyronn Lue for being an amazing coach. Also, Jeff Van Gundy as well for putting this defense together. And now you look at this Clipper team. It's going to be interesting to see how they go the rest of the year. Obviously, we don't know when Kawhi Leonard's coming back. We're just never going to know when Kawhi's coming back. He could just show up tomorrow. You know, who knows when Kawhi's coming back. But this is still going to be a very competent team in terms of in the playoffs. Obviously, they're going to need Kawhi Leonard, you know, because this team is good enough. But when it gets to the playoff time and you need your star players to really perform, obviously you want Kawhi Leonard and you need Kawhi Leonard on this team. You know, like James Harden is still very good, but I don't know how much James Harden is still leading you to playoff victories and stuff in 2025. The playoffs, especially, they're going to be a lower seed. They're going to have to go up against like a Grizzlies team or something like that. It's gonna be very tough. But it's just a very fun story, you know, and a very good, you know, very good thing to see that the Clippers are still going to be able to perform. They're still a very competent team, a very good team in the West. I mean, they're better than teams like the Lakers, the Warriors. Like they're better than those teams, which you didn't really expect coming into the year. Not knowing when Kawhi Leonard is going to play, being led by James Harden, having this roster, they've just outperformed every expectation. And now I can't wait to see more, man. I mean, I really can't wait to see more. They win a lot of clutch games. They play some great defense. You know, James Harden still has his nights where he can go off and give you 35. Norman Powell has his nights where he's gonna hit 7 or 8 threes and go off for 34 points. Zubac's gonna have some big nights. The bench is gonna give you some good competition, and they're just gonna be competent, which is what you want to see. They're always gonna give you a good fight. It feels like, and yeah, this Clipper team very good, very impressed. I can't wait to see more what they have in store. And yeah, that's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it a whole lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.